Today, we're bubbling with excitement to dive into the world of food manufacturing. We're gonna get cultured, quite literally. Fermentation, it's not just your grandma's secret weapon for making killer sauerkraut anymore. This age-old process has been given a modern makeover and is now at the forefront of food manufacturing innovation. From your morning yogurt to that trendy kombucha you're sipping, fermentation is working its microbial magic in more places than you might think. But what exactly is fermentation in food manufacturing? Well, imagine, if you will, billions of tiny chefs are microorganism heroes working tirelessly to transform your food. These microscopic Gordon Ramsays break down sugars and starches, creating an array of flavors, textures, and preservative effects that would make any food scientist swoon. In the world of food manufacturing, fermentation is like a Swiss Army knife of processes. It's used to create everything from bread and cheese to soy sauce to beer and wine. But it's not just about the taste. Oh no. Fermentation is a multitasking marvel. It extends the shelf life, enhances nutritional value, and can even make foods easier to digest. It's like a biological fountain of youth for your groceries. Today's food manufacturers are harnessing the power of fermentation on an industrial scale. We're talking massive vats of bubbling goodness, carefully controlled to produce consistent, high-quality products. It's a far cry from the clay pots our ancestors used, but the fundamental principle remains the same. Let the microbes do the heavy lifting. We're about to embark on a journey through the fascinating world of fermentation in food manufacturing, from the basics of bacterial buddies to the cutting-edge tech that's revolutionizing the industry. We've got a lot to cover. And who knows, by the end of this show, you might just be inspired to start your own fermentation station at home. Just remember, if it smells funky in a good way, you're probably doing it right. I'm your host for Apprentice.io's Industry Insights, Frank Maggiore, and today we're going to cover the wild and weird world of fermentation in food production, the value to the industry, and how MES software systems can help. Because at Industry Insights, we believe that good things come to those who wait, and sometimes those good things are deliciously tangy, fizzy, or umami-packed treats that make our taste buds dance. Let's get this fermentation party started. Alright, let's dive into Fermentation 101, where we'll demystify this bubbly process that's been tickling taste buds for millennia. So what exactly is fermentation? Spoiler alert, it's not just nature's way of making Friday nights more interesting. At its core, fermentation is a metabolic process where microorganisms convert carbohydrates into alcohol, organic acids, or gases. It's like a microscopic rave where sugar is the music the DJ is playing and bacteria or yeast are the enthusiastic dancers. In food manufacturing, we primarily deal with two types of fermentation, alcoholic and lactic acid. Alcoholic fermentation is the life of the party in beverages like beer and wine, where yeast turns sugar into ethanol and carbon dioxide. It's basically how grape juice grows up and becomes wine. Lactic acid fermentation, on the other hand, is the cool, tangy cousin. This is what gives yogurt its zing, pickles their pucker, and sourdough, well, sourdoughness. Here, bacteria convert sugars into lactic acid, creating that distinctive tart flavor we either love or love to hate. But wait, there's more. We've also got acetic acid fermentation, which turned wine into vinegar, perfect for when you forgot to cork the bottle. And let's not forget about mold fermentation, responsible for the funky deliciousness of blue cheese. Yes, you heard that right. Sometimes we purposely let food get moldy. It's not laziness, it's gastronomical science. Now let's talk about the unsung heroes of fermentation, the microbes. These tiny titans are the workhorses of the fermentation world. We're talking about bacteria like lactobacillus, yeast like Saccharomyces, and even some fungi. They're the superheroes of the microbial world, each with their own superpower. These microorganisms aren't just randomly partying in our food, they're carrying out complex biochemical processes, breaking down molecules, producing new compounds, and generally transforming our food in ways that would make any alchemist jealous. Take brewing beer, for instance. Yeast doesn't just magically turn grain water into beer, it's meticulously chomping through complex sugars, burping out CO2, and excreting alcohol. It's a complex process that would make any chemical engineer raise their glass in respect. But here's the kicker, fermentation isn't just about creating new flavors or alcoholic content, it's also a preservation technique that's been saving humanity from hunger and boredom for thousands of years. By creating an acidic environment or producing alcohol, fermentation makes food inhospitable for harmful bacteria. It's like building a microscopic fortress around your food. Moreover, fermentation can increase the nutritional values of food. It breaks down complex compounds, making nutrients more bioavailable. It can even create new nutrients. For example, the vitamin K2 in your fancy Gouda, thank fermentation for that. So the next time you bite into a tangy pickle, spread some stinky cheese on your cracker, or sip a crisp beer, remember, you're not just eating or drinking, you're experiencing a culmination of an intricate dance between food and microorganisms, a testament to both nature's ingenuity and human culinary creativity. It's not just fermentation, it's a microbial miracle. Let's journey from the humble clay pots of our ancestors to the gleaming stainless steel vats of today's food manufacturing plants. The fermentation revolution is here, and it's fizzing with excitement. Traditionally, fermentation was a bit like playing microbial roulette. You mix your ingredients, say a prayer to the fermentation gods, and hope for the best. Our ancestors were essentially running a microscopic version of Survivor in their food. Let the fittest microbes win out. Sometimes it worked beautifully, and sometimes, well, let's just say, not all fermentation experiments ended up in the Culinary Hall of Fame. Fast forward to today, and we've turned fermentation into a science. Modern food manufacturing has taken the guesswork out of the equation. We're talking precision-controlled environments, carefully selected microbial strains, and more sensors than a space shuttle. It's like we've given those ancient fermentation gods GPS and a smartphone. The benefits of this precision fermentation in food production are nothing short of revolutionary. First off, consistency is king. No more batch-to-batch variation that makes your sauerkraut taste like coleslaw one day and pickled despair the next. With precision fermentation, manufacturers can replicate that perfect tang time after time. Precision fermentation also allows faster production time. We basically put fermentation on steroids. Don't worry, it's perfectly legal. What used to take weeks or months can now be done in days. It's like we've discovered time travel, but only for bacteria. But wait, there's more. Precision fermentation means enhanced safety. By carefully managing the process, we can ensure that only the good microbes are partying in our food, keeping the party crashers, read harmful bacteria, out. It's like having a really strict bouncer for your microscopic nightclub. And let's not forget about the flavor possibilities. With precision control over fermentation processes, food scientists can fine-tune flavors like never before. Want your kombucha to taste like a tropical sunset? No problem. Dreaming of a cheese that tastes like it was aged on the moon? Yeah, we're probably working on that. Now let's talk about some fermented foods that are taking the market by storm. First up, we have kombucha, the fizzy, funky tea that's gone from hippie health stores to mainstream supermarkets faster than you can say SCOBY. That's symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast for the uninitiated. Then there's kefir, the probiotic-packed dairy drink that gives regular old milk a run for its money. It's like yogurt decided to live its best life and turn itself into a smoothie. Then there's tempeh, a fermented soybean cake that is becoming the new darling of the plant-based protein world. It's like tofu went to the gym and got really buff. And let's not forget about kimchi, the Korean fermented vegetable dish that's spicing up everything from tacos to burgers. It's proof that cabbage can indeed have a glow up. Even good old pickles are getting a makeover. Artisanal pickle companies are popping up faster than you can say dill, offering everything from classic dills to curry-flavored pickled cauliflower. Perhaps the most surprising trend, fermented beverages that aren't alcoholic. We're talking drinks like kvass, a fermented beverage made from rye bread that's like the hipster cousin of beer. The fermentation revolution isn't just changing what we eat, it's changing how we think about food. It's making us appreciate the complex processes that go into creating flavors, the importance of gut health, and the incredible potential of microorganisms. So the next time you're enjoying a tangy bite of sourdough or sipping into some fizzy kombucha, remember, you're not just consuming a product, you're participating in a revolution. A delicious, bubbly, micro-powered revolution that's transforming the food industry one fermentation batch at a time. Who knew a revolution could taste so good? Let's dive into the challenges of fermentation processes, or as I like to call it, when good microbes go bad, a cautionary tale. First up, we've got the Goldilocks problem of fermentation, consistency. In the world of industrial fermentation, we're not just looking for good enough, we're aiming for that just right sweet spot, batch after batch. It's like trying to bake the perfect sourdough loaf, but instead of doing it just once for your Instagram, you're going to do it thousands of times a day. The challenge here is that our microbial workers aren't always the most reliable employees. They're sensitive little beings, affected by everything from temperature fluctuations to slight changes in the ingredients' composition. One day, they're happily munching away, producing perfect kimchi, and the next, they're on strike because the cabbage was a smidge too fresh. It's enough to give any food manufacturer gray hairs. To tackle this, manufacturers need to control every variable with the precision of a Swiss watchmaker. We're talking temperature, pH, oxygen levels, nutrient concentration, the works. It's like creating a 5-star hotel for bacteria where every whim is catered to. Who knew the microbes could be such divas? Next up, we've got the challenge of scaling up. Imagine you perfected your grandma's pickle recipe in your kitchen. Great! Now imagine trying to make those same pickles in a vat the size of an Olympic swimming pool. Not so easy, right? When you scale up fermentation processes, you're not just making more of the same thing, you're creating an entirely new ecosystem. It's like going from managing a goldfish bowl to suddenly being in charge of one of the Great Lakes. The problems here are numerous. How do you ensure even distribution of cultures in a massive tank? How do you maintain consistent temperature throughout? How do you stir a vat of fermenting goodness that's bigger than your house? It's enough to make you wish you'd stuck to making pickles in your kitchen. But wait, there's more. Let's talk about quality control, or as I like to call it, keeping the good bugs in and the bad bugs out. The microbial border patrol. Bad bugs, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? In any fermentation process, we're cultivating specific microorganisms to do our bidding. But here's the thing, microbes don't read job descriptions. Given half a chance, unwanted bacteria or yeast will crash the party faster than you can say contamination. The challenge here is twofold. First, you need to create an environment that's a paradise for your chosen microbes, but hell for everything else. It's like throwing a party where only your best friends are invited and everyone else finds the place utterly unbearable. Second, you need to monitor your fermentation process with the vigilance of a helicopter parent. We're talking constant testing, sampling, and analyzing. Is that slightly off smell the start of a contamination, or just Dave from accounting microwaving fish in the break room again? Damn you, Dave. Let's not forget about the ever-looming threat of bacteriophages, viruses that specifically infect bacteria. These microscopic party poopers can wipe out an entire batch of carefully cultivated bacterial cultures faster than you can say lactobacillus. It's like preparing for a zombie apocalypse, but on a microscopic scale. To combat these challenges, manufacturers are turning to an arsenal of high-tech solutions. We're talking real-time monitoring systems, automated sampling, rapid microbial detection methods, and even AI-powered predictive models. It's like we're building a NASA control center, but instead of launching rockets, we're launching the perfect batch of sauerkraut. In the end, managing fermentation processes at an industrial scale is a delicate balance of art and science, with a hefty dose of microbe wrangling thrown in for good measure. It's challenging, it's complex, but when it works, oh boy, is it delicious. So the next time you're enjoying a perfectly tangy pickle or a sublimely fizzy kombucha, spare a thought for the fermentation wizards behind the scenes, working tirelessly to keep those microbes in line and your taste buds happy. Alright, let's dive into the fascinating world of precision fermentation, the Swiss Army knife of the modern food industry. I recently went to a Food Hack New York conference in Brooklyn. We got to sample some new and innovative products. They put on a really good show that was extremely informative and was great for networking. Precision fermentation and sustainability were the main themes of the show, and how traditional food waste streams could be converted into high-margin products or key food ingredients. Precision fermentation is like teaching microorganisms to be tiny, specialized food factories. Instead of relying on cows, chickens, or other animals, we're putting microbes to work to create animal-free version of the traditional animal products. It's like we've given evolution a fast-forward button and a very specific to-do list. Let's start with dairy. Companies like Imagine Dairy, Remilk, and Perfect Day have received FDA approval for their animal-free whey proteins. Imagine enjoying a scoop of creamy ice cream or a slice of gooey pizza, all without a single cow involved. It's not magic, it's science. And it's microbes producing milk proteins that are molecularly identical to those from cows. Imagine Dairy has even acquired an industrial-scale production plant capable of producing 100,000 liters of animal-free dairy proteins. That's a lot of cheese without the moo. You could say the factory cost a lot of moolah. Okay, I'll stop there. But why stop at milk? Precision fermentation is also tackling the egg industry. Companies are developing egg white substitutes that can whip, foam, and bind just like the real thing. It's like we've taught microbes to lay eggs, minus the chicken, the egg yolks, and the shells. And for the tiniest humans among us, precision fermentation is revolutionizing infant formulas. By producing lactoferrin, a key protein found in breast milk, we can create formula that's closer to the real deal. It's like giving babies the nutritional benefits of breast milk, even when breastfeeding isn't an option. Now you might be wondering, why go through all this trouble? Well, we're facing a global protein challenge. With the world population expected to hit 10 billion people by 2050, we need to find sustainable ways to feed all those hungry mouths. Traditional animal agriculture is resource intensive. It involves a lot of land, a lot of materials, and an ungodly amount of water, which all have a significant environmental impact. When you consider for a single cup of dairy cow's milk, it takes on average 39.3 gallons for 1 cup of cow's milk. That's insane. Almond milk isn't much better at 23 gallons of water per cup. Oat and soy milk are significantly better at 3 gallons and 1.7 gallons respectively, but these are all significantly higher than most of us would ever have imagined it takes. Precision fermentation offers a way to produce high-quality proteins with a fraction of the land, water, and energy use. Take Enifer, a Finnish biotech startup, for example. They're using fungal fermentation to produce a mycoprotein called Pekilo. Their new facility is expected to produce 3 million kilograms of Pekilo annually. That's the protein equivalent of 30,000 cows, but with at least 20 times fewer carbon emissions. Pekilo can not only be used for meat analogs, but also in baking, pasta, and dairy alternatives. But it's not just about proteins. C16 Biosciences is using precision fermentation to tackle another environmental villain, palm oil. Their fermentation-based palm oil alternative could replace this controversial ingredient in foods like ice cream, chocolate, and bakery items without contributing to deforestation. It's like saving the rainforest one cookie at a time, and I'm certainly all for that. And let's not forget about flavor. Mediterranean Food Lab is using a combination of solid-state fermentation and AI-driven analysis to create clean-label savory ingredients, such as adding fermented chickpea or fermented lentil broth instead of the generic artificial and natural flavors on the label. They're able to enhance the flavor of plant-based foods without relying on artificial additives. It's like they've taught microbes to be master chefs. Even the air we breathe is becoming a source of food, thanks to precision fermentation. Solar Foods has partnered with the Fazer Group to launch a chocolate snack bar in Singapore made with Solein, a protein produced from the air as part of a carbon capturing process. That's right, they're literally making food out of thin air. It's like they've discovered alchemy, but instead of turning lead into gold, they're turning air into protein and fighting climate change along the way. I'm certainly all in on fighting climate change with more chocolate as a byproduct. The best part, these precision fermentation products aren't just sustainable, they're designed to be indistinguishable from their conventional counterparts in taste and functionality. We're not asking consumers to compromise on their culinary experiences. Instead, we're offering them a chance to have their cake and eat it too, a cake that's better for the planet and kinder to animals. The potential applications seem endless, from creating new probiotic strains for gut health to producing specialty enzymes for food processing. Precision fermentation is opening up a world of possibilities. It's allowing us to rethink not just what we eat, but how we produce food altogether. As this technology continues to evolve, we can expect to see more innovative products hitting the market. Imagine spreads made from fermented nuts that taste exactly like fine aged cheese, or steaks grown from fungi that rival the best Wagyu. The future of food is fermenting before our eyes, and it looks delicious, sustainable, and full of possibilities. So the next time you enjoy a scoop of animal-free ice cream or bite into a plant-based burger that tastes just like the real thing, remember, you're not just eating food, you're tasting the future. A future where our food system is more sustainable, more ethical, and maybe, just maybe, even more delicious. Now that's something worth raising a glass of precision fermented wine to. Alright folks, let's dive into the world of food upcycling, where one man's trash becomes another man's treasure, quite literally. Imagine a world where all those sad, forgotten banana peels and coffee grounds aren't just a waste, but the secret ingredients to the next big thing in food. Well, welcome to the exciting realm of food upcycling. According to the UN Environment Program, we're wasting a whopping 17% of our food at the consumption level. That's like throwing away 1 out of every 6 tacos, a tragedy by any measure. But here's where it gets really spicy. This food accounts for 8 to 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions. It's like our leftover lasagna is hosting a climate change party in the landfill. But fear not, eco-warriors and foodies alike, because food upcycling is here to save the day, and maybe even tickle your taste buds while it's at it. So what exactly is food upcycling? It's like extreme makeover food edition. We're taking those agricultural residues, food processing byproducts, and even those ugly fruits and veggies that wouldn't win any beauty pageants and transforming them into high quality, nutritious products. It's like turning Cinderella's pumpkin into a gourmet carriage that you can eat. Let's break down some of these food waste sources, shall we? We've got agricultural residues, think corn husks and apple cores that are usually left to rot, but could be the next big thing in biofuels or animal feed. Then there's food processing byproducts, like the leftover grain from beer brewing. Companies like Regrained are turning it into flour. That's right, your next cookie could be made from beer leftovers. Talk about a happy hour snack. And let's not forget about the ugly produce, those fruits and veggies that look like they've had a rough night but are perfectly delicious. Companies like the Ugly Company are giving these misfits from the aisle of misfit vegetables a second chance, turning them into dried snacks. It's like a makeover show, but for produce. Now, how do we turn this food into gold? Well, we've got some pretty cool techniques. There's insect bioconversion. Yeah, you heard that right. We're talking about using insects like mealworms to break down organic waste. It's like having a miniature recycling plants to do the job for you. Then there's microbial fermentation, where we let bacteria and fungi to do the heavy lifting. These microscopic magicians can turn food waste into everything from antibiotics to plastics. It's like a science experiment gone deliciously right. We've also got extraction techniques that can pull out valuable compounds from food waste. Imagine turning orange peels into a superfood ingredient. It's like finding out your compost bin was hiding a fountain full of new flavors all along. And let's not forget about pyrolysis. It's like giving your food waste a spa day at extremely high temperatures. The result? Biochar, a fancy charcoal that can make the soil healthier. It's like turning your banana peels into a superfood for plants. The best part? This isn't just a pipe dream. There are real companies out there making this happen. Take Gaia Tech, for example. These Swiss wizards are turning food processing side streams into clean label ingredients for cosmetics and foods. It's like they found the philosopher's stone, but instead of turning lead into gold, they're turning waste into wonder. Or how about MOA Food Tech from Spain? They're using biotechnology and AI to turn agri-food byproducts into high-quality proteins. It's like they're running a matchmaking service for lonely food molecules. And let's not forget about the fashionistas of the food upcycling world. Companies like Ananas and Nam are turning pineapple leaf fibers into leather alternatives. That's right, your next handbag could be made from pineapple leaves. It's fruit-forward fashion, darling. The possibilities are endless. The future is bright and delicious. As we continue to innovate in this space, we're not just reducing waste, we're creating a whole new world of products, flavors, and opportunities. So the next time you're about to toss that apple core or coffee grounds, remember, you might just be throwing away the key ingredient to the next big thing in food. In the world of food upcycling, today's waste is tomorrow's wonder. All right, coffee lovers and sustainability enthusiasts, let's dive into the fascinating world of Café Bueno, where your morning brew's leftovers are getting a glamorous second act. Picture this. You've just finished your morning coffee and you're about to toss those spent grounds into the trash. But wait, what if I told you those humble coffee grounds could be the secret ingredient in your next face cream, health supplement, or even your afternoon snack? That's exactly what Café Bueno, a Danish company, is looking to do. Café Bueno, which appropriately means good coffee in Spanish, is turning the concept of coffee waste on its head. They're not just recycling, they're upcycling, taking those spent coffee grounds and transforming them into high-value ingredients for personal care, nutraceuticals, and functional foods. They're turning coffee ground waste into upscale, high-value, high-margin beauty products. Now you might be thinking, sure, but how much impact can one company really have? Well, hold on to your coffee mugs because Café Bueno is going big. They built a full-scale biorefinery, which became operational in 2023. This isn't just a small operation. We're talking about an industrial-scale plant that can process massive amounts of coffee grounds and waste. But here's the kicker. None of the founders had a background in chemistry or chemical engineering when they started. They were just three guys from Colombia with a passion for coffee and a nose for opportunity. As co-founder Alejandro Franco puts it, you only have to be curious. They started by reading research papers and collaborating with institutions to establish proof of concepts. It's like they were the scrappy underdogs in a feel-good movie about sustainability entrepreneurship. So what exactly are they producing? Let's start with their star product, coffee oil, or as they call it, caf oil. This isn't just your average cooking oil. It's a versatile ingredient that can be used both in cosmetics and food products. Imagine moisturizing your skin with the same stuff that you could flavor your salad with. Talk about multitasking. But they didn't stop there. They also developed Cafiber, a fancy name for defatted coffee fibers. While it sounds like something you'd find in a sci-fi novel, it's actually being used as an exfoliator in personal care products. That's right, the same stuff that used to end up in landfills could now be gently scrubbing your face. What's really exciting is how these products are being received by the industry. Cafe Bueno has struck a global distribution agreement with Gavidian, a major player in the flavors and fragrances industry. And if that wasn't enough to make you sit up and take notice, how about this? Their calf oil is now a key ingredient in Nivea's face cream. That's right, one of Europe's biggest skincare brands is now slathering recycled coffee oil on the faces of beautiful people all across the continent. But Cafe Bueno isn't just making cool products, they're on a mission to change how we think about coffee. As Alejandro puts it, we hope to help change the perception of coffee in general. Instead of people looking at it as just being a beverage, we have to explain to them that a cup of coffee is just a fraction of a plant with much greater potential, and they're putting their money where their mouth is. They're planning to have multiple biorefineries all around the world because, as Alejandro says, with more than 10 million tons of coffee consumed in 2022, man, there's a lot of work to do. So the next time you're about to throw away your coffee grounds, remember, in the hands of innovative companies like Cafe Bueno, those grounds could be on their way to become the next big thing in beauty, health, or food. It's a whole new way to get a buzz from your coffee, and this time, it's not just the caffeine talking. Okay, let's talk about one of the unsung heroes of modern fermentation, cloud-based manufacturing execution systems, or MES. It's like having a super smart, all-seeing eye watching over your fermentation vats 24/7. Think of it as the Gandalf of the fermentation world, but instead of saying, "You shall not pass," it's saying, "Your pH level shall not pass this threshold." So what exactly is a cloud-based MES? Well, imagine if you take all the brain power of your most experienced fermentation experts and combined it with the processing power of a supercomputer, and then make it accessible from anywhere in the world. That's essentially what a cloud-based MES does. It's a software system that lives in the cloud, the digital kind, and manages every aspect of your manufacturing process. Now, how is MES transforming fermentation processes? Let me count the ways. First off, it's bringing unprecedented levels of control and visibility to fermentation. Remember our Goldilocks problem of consistency? MES is like having Goldilocks herself on staff, constantly checking that everything is just right. It monitors and controls those critical parameters like temperature, pH, oxygen levels with the precision of a rocket launch. It's like having a million tiny sensors all reporting back to mission control. But MES doesn't just monitor, it can also make adjustments in real time as well. pH getting a little bit too acidic? MES can trigger the control systems for the addition of a buffering agent. Temperature creeping up? MES can kick the cooling system into high gear. It's like having a fermentation fairy godmother waving her wand to keep everything perfect and within specification. Speaking of real-time monitoring, MES takes this to a whole new level. Gone are the days of babysitting your fermentation vats like a nervous parent. With MES, you can watch your kimchi fermenting from the comfort of your couch, or the beach, or wherever you happen to be. It's like having a baby monitor for your bacteria. Imagine getting an alert on your phone that says your sauerkraut is entering peak fermentation phase, or your kombucha SCOBY is looking a bit peaky. It's like your ferments are texting you updates. Hey boss, things are getting pretty acidic down here. Mind turning down the heat? But MES isn't just about monitoring, it's also about prediction and prevention. Using advanced algorithms and machine learning, MES can predict potential issues before they occur. It's like having a crystal ball for your fermentation process. I foresee a contamination in your future if you don't adjust your salt levels. Now let's talk about data analytics, or as I like to call it, when your yogurt becomes a math problem. MES doesn't just collect data, it turns that data into actionable insights. Every batch of fermented goods generates a mountain of data. Temperature readings, pH levels, microbial counts, fermentation times. It's enough to make your head spin. But MES takes all this data and turns it into beautiful, easy to understand visualizations and reports. It's like having a data scientist on staff, but one that never sleeps and doesn't demand a corner office. With MES, you can spot trends across thousands of batches. Maybe you'll discover that your kimchi ferments faster when there's a full moon, or that your beer has slightly higher alcohol content when fermented on Tuesdays. Hey, stranger things have happened in the world of fermentation. But it's not just about spotting trends, it's about optimization. MES can help you fine-tune your processes to achieve peak efficiency and quality. Want to shave 12 hours off your fermentation time while improving flavor? MES can help you figure out how. It's like having a fermentation coach pushing your microbes to be the best that they can be. And let's not forget about traceability. In the event of a quality issue, MES allows you to trace every ingredient in every batch back to the source faster than you can say recall. It's like having a time machine for your ferments, allowing you to go back and see exactly what happened at any point in the process. But perhaps the most transformative aspect of MES is how it democratizes expertise. With all this data and analysis at your fingertips, even a novice can make decisions like a seasoned fermentation expert. It's like having a fermentation Jedi master guiding your every move. Cloud-based MES is also breaking down silos in manufacturing. Now your team in Tokyo can learn from the successes and failures of your team in Toledo in real time. It's like having a global fermentation hive mind with everyone working together to achieve microbial perfection. In essence, MES is taking the age-old art of fermentation and turning it into cutting-edge science. It's bringing the kind of precision and control that would make a NASA engineer jealous to the world of sauerkraut and sourdough. So the next time you enjoy a perfectly fermented treat, raise a glass or a fork to the unsung heroes working behind the scenes, the cloud-based manufacturing execution systems turning your ferments into a perfectly orchestrated symphony of microbial magic. Who knew managing millions of microbes could be so high-tech? All right, let's dive into the world of food manufacturing standardization, where consistency is king and quality is queen. First up, let's talk about standardization across manufacturing sites. Imagine trying to make your grandma's secret cookie recipe in 10 different kitchens simultaneously. That's the challenge food manufacturers face every day. This is where systems like Apprentice.io's connected manufacturing network come into play. It's like having a magical cookbook that updates in real time across all your kitchens. This network links sites together, ensuring that whether you're making ketchup in Kalamazoo or fermenting kombucha in Fiji, you're following the same process. It's like having a culinary hive mind where the best practices are shared instantly across the globe. No more, but that's how we've always done things around here excuses. Sorry, Kevin from the night shift. Now let's chat about optimization and golden batches. In the world of food manufacturing, finding the perfect batch is like discovering the Holy Grail. If the Holy Grail were filled with the world's most delicious soup, we're talking about the batch that hits all the right notes: optimal taste, maximal yield, minimal waste, and energy efficiency that would make Captain Planet proud. To achieve this, manufacturers need to standardize around specific key performance indicators, or KPIs, and specifications. It's like creating a report card for each batch, but instead of good grades in math and science, we're looking for things like flavor profile, texture, and shelf life. By analyzing these golden batches, companies can replicate their success and turn every batch into the greatest hits album of flavor and efficiency. Moving on to manufacturing execution systems, the unsung hero of the manufacturing world. Think of manufacturing execution systems as the world's most detailed-oriented sous chef. It provides step-by-step instructions to operators, ensuring that whether you're a seasoned pro or it's your first day on the job, you're following the recipe to a T. But MES doesn't just stop at instructions, it's also your personal trainer and integration guru. It helps with employee training and qualifications, making sure everyone on the factory floor knows their stuff. And it plays nice with existing systems, integrating seamlessly like that one friend who gets along with everyone at the party. Now let's talk regulatory requirements, because nothing says fun like your food industry compliance, right? While the food and beverage industry might not be under the same microscope as pharmaceuticals, it's not exactly the Wild West either. The FDA and a host of international agencies are still watching, and they're not just interested in if your cheese puffs are delicious. Food manufacturers need to maintain meticulous audit trails, batch records, and logs. It's like keeping a diary, but instead of writing about your crush, you're documenting every step of the production process. These records need to be detailed enough to trace a single cheese puff from the factory to a consumer if necessary. It's not quite CSI Food Edition, but it's close. The key here is to strike a balance. You need to meet all the regulatory requirements without turning your production line into a paperwork factory. Modern MES systems help by automating much of this process, turning what used to be mountains of paperwork into searchable, auditable digital records. It's like having a really efficient but really boring robot assistant whose sole job is to make sure you're following all the rules. In essence, standardization in food manufacturing is about creating a symphony of processes where every instrument, or in this case, every mixer, fermenter, and packaging line is playing in perfect harmony. It's about ensuring that whether your product is being made in Boston or Bangladesh, it meets the same high standards of quality, safety, and deliciousness. And let's not forget, at the end of the day, All of the standardization and regulation serves one primary purpose: to ensure that when the consumer picks up your product off the shelf, they can trust that it is safe, consistent, and as delicious as advertised. Because in the world of food manufacturing, trust is the secret ingredient that no amount of precision fermentation can replicate. So what's the lessons we can learn from precision fermentation processes using MES platforms to optimize their process? First, embrace the power of real-time monitoring. When it comes to fermentation, a stitch in time saves 9, or in this case, saves about 10,000 jars of pickles. Second, don't be afraid to let AI and machine learning enhance your traditional processes. It's not about replacing the art of fermentation, but it's about giving your artisans superpowers. Third, use your MES as a learning tool. The data it collects is a goldmine of insights just waiting to be tapped. Who knows, you might discover the secrets of perfect fermentation is singing to your cultures. Hey, stranger things have happened, and it works for plants, right? Fourth, remember that MES is not just about control, but about empowerment. It allows you to experiment and innovate with confidence, knowing you have a safety net of data and analytics to catch you if you fall. And finally, always keep the end goal in sight: delicious, consistent, high quality, safe, fermented goods. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Well, that and making sure your kimchi doesn't achieve sentience and try to take over the world. But with a good MES system, you should be covered on both fronts. Now let's gaze into our crystal ball, or should I say our digital fermentation vat, and explore the future of fermentation with MES. Buckle up, because the future is looking fizzy, funky, and fantastically high-tech. First up, emerging trends in fermentation technology. Imagine being able to control not just the overall process, but the activity of individual microbes. We're talking about genetically engineered cultures that can be switched on and off like tiny living light bulbs. Want your kombucha to stop fermenting exactly at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday? There might soon be an app for that. Another exciting trend is the integration of artificial intelligence and machine learning into MES systems. They're not monitoring and controlling, but actively learning and improving the process. It's like having a fermentation Einstein that never sleeps and never forgets. We're also seeing a trend toward more sustainable fermentation practices. MES is being used to optimize resource use, minimize waste, and even capture and repurpose byproducts. Now let's talk predictions for the fermented food market. Hold on to your pickles, folks. We're predicting a boom in personalized fermented foods. Imagine your probiotic yogurt tailored to your specific gut microbiome, or kombucha formulated to match your unique taste preference and nutritional needs. Your MES might soon be interfacing with your smartwatch to adjust kimchi recipes based on the latest health stats. We're also expecting to see fermentation break into new product categories. Fermented plant-based meats, anyone? How about probiotic ice cream? The line between food and medicine is blurring, and fermentation is leading the charge. And let's not forget about the global flavor fusion trend. Get ready for sauerkraut kimchi hybrids and miso-infused pickles. MES will be crucial in managing these complex, multicultural fermentations. As for the evolution of MES itself, we're moving towards systems that are more integrated, more intelligent, more AI, and more predictive. Imagine an MES that doesn't just monitor your current fermentation, but simulates thousands of potential outcomes to optimize your process. It's like having a fermentation fortune teller, but one that deals in hard data instead. We're also likely to see MES become more user-friendly and more accessible. The fermentation masters of the future might be controlling their vats with voice commands and gesture controls, like conductors leading an orchestra of microbes. Integration with other emerging technologies is also on the horizon. Picture MES systems using blockchain to ensure traceability, or augmented reality interfaces that let you see inside your fermentation vats. Your future brewery tour might involve virtual reality glasses instead of hairnets. And let's not forget about the potential for MES in space. As we look towards establishing colonies on the moon and Mars, fermentation could be key to producing foods and other essentials. Your great-grandkids might be enjoying Martian miso thanks to an MES system managing fermentation in microgravity. The future of fermentation with MES is limited only by our imagination, and perhaps by the laws of physics, but we're working on that too. So get ready for a world where your foods are smarter, your flavors are bolder, and your ferments are practically self-aware. The fermentation revolution is here, and it's being led by the most intelligent systems and some very tiny microbes. Here's to the fuzzy, fizzy future. And there you have it, folks. We've journeyed through the fascinating world of fermentation in food manufacturing, from ancient traditions to cutting-edge technology. We've explored how fermentation has evolved from a hit-or-miss process to a precision science, thanks to the power of cloud-based manufacturing execution systems. We've seen how MES is tackling the Goldilocks problem of consistency, taming the sourdough monsters of scaling up, and playing border patrol with our microbial friends. From pickles to probiotics, we've witnessed how companies are leveraging MES to create more consistent, efficient, and innovative fermented products. We peeked into the future where AI-driven fermentation might just read your mind, or at least your gut microbiome, to create personalized probiotic perfection. The key takeaway? Fermentation is no longer just an art, it's a high-tech science that's reshaping the food industry. With MES leading the charge, we're entering into a new era of smarter, more sustainable, and downright tastier fermented foods. So the next time you bite into a perfectly tangy pickle or sip a fizzy kombucha, remember, you're not just enjoying a snack, you're tasting the future of food manufacturing. A future where ancient traditions meet space-age technology, and where our tiniest allies, the microbes, are managed by some of our biggest innovations. In an industry where precision and compliance are paramount, Apprentice's Tempo platform offers a cutting-edge manufacturing execution system solution. It's cloud-based, mobile-first, operator-centric, with the most intuitive UI in the industry, making it perfect for today's dynamic pharmaceutical manufacturing environments and for the production of the world's most complex drug products. Whether you're working on groundbreaking cell and gene therapies, biologics, or small molecules, Tempo provides a fully validated MES system that's both powerful and easy to use. It streamlines your processes, ensures compliance, and adapts to your specific manufacturing needs. So get off of paper batch records and discover how Apprentice's Tempo Manufacturing Cloud can transform your operations by visiting us at apprentice.io. Attention industry professionals, revolutionize your manufacturing process with the Apprentice Tempo Manufacturing Cloud, a manufacturing execution system built to streamline your operations, boost efficiency, and ensure compliance all in one powerful platform. Experience the future of manufacturing with our free 30-day trial. Scan the QR code on your screen now to unlock a world of innovation. Don't just keep pace, set the tempo as an industry leader with Apprentice. That's all for Apprentice.io's Industry Insights. I'm Frank Maggiore. Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for notifications when new episodes drop. Please comment on if you have additional topics you would like for me to cover in this space, and we'll see you next week for more Industry Insights.